Chia. Boom. What up? What up? What up? See if I can get rid of this. Yes. Holla at you. Holla at you when I smile at you. What's going on with y'all, man? What's going on? Man, last night was wild, wasn't it? Good gracious. I don't know what the hell was going on. It was complete madness. Pandemonium. I don't know no words. I don't know no words to describe it. To describe it. Last night was badass. I hear that. We're going to do it again, man. Hutch hit me up. I know the Hutch and Backwoods and all them, man. They're going through some serious storms and shit. Hope they all right. Y'all heard about them storms coming across there, right? They got like tornado warnings everywhere and shit. It's pretty crazy. Y'all hearing me all right? I'm a 5x5. All good? All right, cool. Got the beats maker up in this joint. I had to share that intro a little different because you couldn't put it in I couldn't download it to the StreamYard, so I had to share it in a different way. I don't know if y'all noticed, but I snuck in there on the intro a couple times. But y'all might not have seen me. I was down in the corner. Gia. So what's up with y'all, man? What's up with y'all tonight? Gia. G-I-A. Gia. I'm with you. Random. I got you, sis. Man, I figured I would talk about some crazy shit tonight. You know what I mean? Fuck all the shit going on around the world. You can go see that all over the place, right? I just tell you some shit. Tell you some shit that old tribe been through or not really been through, but lived through or something. You know what I'm saying? Tell y'all some stories and shit, man. Might be interesting. Be something different. I guarantee you ain't nobody else could tell you the same story. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Shit, why not? I sees y'all. Salute. Let me see where my buttons. Where are my buttons at? Gotta hit it one time. For the underground. Outliers. Press 1. Gia. That's right. Press 1. Shit, let's get it in. So I know a lot of y'all that been hanging with me for a while, man. Y'all have heard, little things about me that I put out there. Y'all know, like, I never knew my dad and shit, man. But I got this wicked ass story of how I ended up finding my dad. I thought, it'd be kind of entertaining to talk about it, man. Tell y'all the whole story of it. It's pretty wicked, man. It's pretty fucking crazy, to tell you the truth. It jumps around a lot, so you have to stick with me. But I'm gonna have to tell you. So I was like 32 years old. I think I was like 32, 31 or 32. It was right before I met Nisi when I found my dad. And I hadn't seen him since I was like, I don't know, a little motherfucker, man, like sitting on my mama's lap, little motherfucker. Sometimes my brain wants to tell me that it was like when I was 3, but then sometimes my brain tells me that it was like when I was 2 or when I was 1. And, it gets kind of confusing. I'm 47 now, so it's a long fucking time ago anyway. I was just a little tiny motherfucker. And my mom ended up leaving him. He was a wild dude, man. He was like abusive towards her and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like maniac abusive type shit. But anyway, so I never knew him, never grew up around him. I was always taught to fear him, because my mother was so scared of him popping up and like stealing me away or something like that, that whenever she left him, she pumped it into my brain my entire life to never, he was this evil, wicked man, this no good motherfucker. And pretty much she was pretty much right. But sometimes I think she was kind of wrong to do that so deeply to a child, man, because later on in life, when you're trying to become a man, you start thinking about it like, damn, my dad was this wicked, wild motherfucker. Am I this wicked, wild motherfucker? Because you don't know him and shit, and you're wondering who you are and shit like that. But anyway, Yeah, got through it. But anyway, how I found the motherfucker. Check this out. So I go to work one day. I come home. Oh, no. I didn't come home. I went by my mother's house, my real mother, my blood mother. I went by my mother's house, and I used to use her computer to play poker sometimes. And my little sister, she had hooked up like a MySpace thing or something. And the people that knew my dad, they found I got a best friend. Y'all got to stick with me because it's complicated. I got a best friend that I known, this Italian dude. His last name's Jacovoni, down in Florida. He was married to this chick, had a kid, but then they split up. And somehow this chick, I guess when my sister made the MySpace page way back then, I ended up being friends or something, or however it worked on MySpace. I don't really know because I never really messed with it. I would play poker, and then my sister would fuck with me with the little MySpace shit for like 10, 15 minutes. I wouldn't know nothing about it. So anyway, these people ended up going to my MySpace, seeing my buddy's wife, ex-wife, and messaged her to try to get a hold of me. Now, they live down in Florida, and I never even knew her personally. Like, I just knew them. I knew him personally, of course, but he moved down Florida. I stayed in Maryland. Boom, bam, bit. So I had talked to her on the phone a few times, but I go by my mom's house. My sister used to check on my MySpace and shit just because I never did, and she was a little nosy thing, so she would always check on my MySpace and use my MySpace and whatnot. So she was like, "Hey, DJ's ex-wife is hitting you up. There's some people getting a hold of her that know your real dad." And I'm like, "What? No bullshit." So I end up calling my best friend's ex-wife. I'm like, "Yeah, what's up, man? Boom, bam, bit, boom, bam, bit." She ends up giving me a number to these people. And she said, "It doesn't sound like it's good. They wouldn't give me information, but it doesn't sound good." And I'm like, "Well, from what I've heard about this dude my whole life, nothing would be good, right?" You know what I'm saying? So I end up calling these people, and they tell me that my dad's dead. But the thing about it is that they've been trying to find me and my brother, who I never knew all my life. I heard whispers that he might have another kid. And I had a cousin who said he knew him and that he looked just like me, but I just never knew him, never talked to him, didn't know nobody that knew him, nothing like that. So anyway, these people were trying to find me or him because my dad's body was locked in a freezer and had been there for like 3 weeks. Let me get a drink. My mouth dry as shit. This is a wild one, man. This is a wild one. It goes it goes bonkers, I swear. So I'm like, well, shit, man. What the fuck do I got to do? I don't know this dude. I don't know y'all. I'm talking to these people that know my dad, know what's going on, and they actually know my dad's family. They're like, "Look, you got to like take charge of his body and tell them what to do with it and shit. They won't do nothing with his body unless it's next to kin. And since he has 2 sons, and we can't find the other one, it's got to be you." And the thing about it is, me and my dad had the exact same name, and I'm a junior because I have his exact same name. So it was kind of weird, but so they give me all the information and shit. I call up this place. I end up having to send them information to prove who I am and all this and all that. So I'm talking to the lady and shit, and I'm like, "Look, I never knew this motherfucker. He wasn't shit to me. He wasn't good to my mother. I'm not spending a penny on this dude. I'll sign for him or whatever, man, so y'all can get him up out of that freezer, and we can do with whatever we got to do with this dude. But I never knew him, I'm not going to spend thousands of dollars for this dude. I mean, this dude never spent a penny on my motherfucking ass. You know what I'm saying? So the lady's like, no, the state will take care of it. Boom, bam, bit. And I'll tell you real quick, he died from a liver failure. And liver problems ran in the family, but my father was a heroin addict since he was 17 years old. And I think he was something like he was 50 some years old when he died. And what's freaky as fuck is the day he died was my mother's birthday. And I sat there and thought about like all the shit she took from this dude for them couple of years, the ass whoopings. He drug her through rose bushes. I mean, he was an evil bastard. And to think that she got a birthday gift later down the line of this dude dying, man, I'm just saying, it's kind of fucked up, but he died on her birthday type shit. Ain't that some wild shit? So let me get back to it. So I tell the lady, I'm like, look, just have him cremated. I don't know what else to do. She's like, well, somebody's got to pick up the body. And I'm like, all right, well, I'll tell one of his friends or something to pick up the body. They're like, no, that, you're the next of kin. Like, you have to take responsibility for this, and this, or else he's just going to sit here. I'm like, you got to be fucking kidding me, man. I got to go pick his body up in ashes. I haven't ever known this dude, nothing at all. And I got to be responsible to come pick this motherfucker up. And it was like 2.5 hours away. I'm like, man, that's a long motherfucking drive to pick somebody up in a box, man. So let me tell you. Now, I talk about it a little rough. Y'all have to understand, but it did hit me. It did hit me in my soul a little later on. But let me just keep on getting it. I hope I ain't boring y'all, man. But I really want to get this story out there too, because my kids will be able to hear this when I'm gone, or my grandkids will be able to hear this when I'm gone, no matter how bad or good. So anyway, so I talk to, I get it all straight with the people. I'm like, yeah, cremate them. They're like, yeah, it's going to cost around, $1,000, $1,200, $700 for this, $300 for that. But the state's going to take care of it. It's all good. You don't have to worry about it. But, we're going to email you, fax you some paperwork. You just sign it, send it back to us. We'll get it all done. And then we'll call you when it's done and you can come pick them up. I'm like, all right, cool. That's dope. Man, I wish you know where the urns are, babe? You have any idea where I put those urns? Because you know where those urns are? Those little urns? No. They're in a box somewhere, right? Yeah. All right, I'll just tell y'all the story. I wanted to show y'all something because it's fucking wild, man. It's fucking wild. So then I talked to the people that got a hold of me. And these were some wild motherfuckers too, let me tell you. So, I do all the paperwork. Okay, they're going to cremate them. I'm going to come pick them up when it's done. I talk to the people. I'm not really, it's kind of weird because the people that I'm talking to, they're pretty good friends with my dad's sister. My dad's sister, I actually remembered as a kid, like a little tiny motherfucker, because she was friends with my mom after my mom had left my dad and she was hiding from my dad and shit. She was still friends with the sister and they were tight. So she was around a little bit and I remembered her. But my dad's got other sisters and brothers and shit. And these people weren't talking to him, and neither was this sister. Now, I know it's going to get a little confusing because I got to jump around. It's really fucked up. So the plan is I'm going to get the body, and I'm going to give it to the sister that I remember, or give it to these people. These people will give it to the sister, and everything will be fine, whatever. These people even came, you can tell that they were kind of, they were like grooming me to keep me close so they could do something. When you can feel something ain't right. Something is not fucking right here, man. Here's just friends of my dad with one sister. I know there's a whole nother part of the family. And just by talking to them, you could tell there was a rift between everybody else. These people really want my dad's body really bad. But they're the ones that found me. They're being real nice to me. It's real fucking weird, right? So I ended up, they had a daughter. The daughter was around my age. She comes down. She meets me. She's like, man, why don't you just ride up with me, meet my family and shit, man? You can just chill all night. We'll, smoke some weed, just hang out. We good people. You ain't got to worry about nothing. I'm like, I'll ride up there. I don't give a fuck. What's up? They're like, your aunt will come over there. You'll be able to meet your aunt. I'm like, all right, cool. Now, this is why my dad's body's being processed. So I go up the road. I end up going to these people's house. And the sister, my dad's sister, comes over there. And she gives me, before my dad died, he was in like this place where they take care of people that are dying from shit, but they ain't got no money. But also, they were real bad drug addicts and shit like that. I don't know what the fucking place was called or nothing. I was never there. They said the name of it a few times, but this was fucking 20 years ago, 18 years ago. So anyway, I go up to the house. The sister comes over, and she's got some shit from my dad that he had in this hospital right before he died. And it's some God books. It's like 5 or 6 little books about Jesus and religion and shit. And then it was his wallet, his driver's license, or an ID. I think it was just an ID, his social security card. But it's weird when it's your name on everything. And my mother always kept the junior off of my name. So I never used the junior on the end of my name until I became an adult and realized that I had the same name as this motherfucker. And I realized every time I would get locked up, I would have to answer questions about my father because he had a bunch of warrants from like years past. And they'd be like, look, there's another dude with your exact same name, but it can't be you because you're not 50 fucking years old or you're not 49 fucking years old and shit. It's real fucked up. So the only time I ever had to talk about my dad is when I got locked up and the police would ask me about him. Man, what the fuck? You know what I'm saying? But I'm getting sidetracked here. Because it wasn't a few times in my life I actually talked to anybody about my dad, except for like my uncle. My uncle knew him. And my dad was a wild motherfucker, man. Like, I'll tell you one story about my dad, how devious this dude was. And I think I talked about this before. Y'all might have heard it before. I don't know. But he got caught doing some shit, and this cop arrested him. Well, he got let out, has a court date. And anybody who's anybody that's ever been arrested, when you go to court, the cop that arrests you, he's got to go to court too that same day. He's got to go to court to testify against you and say what the fuck happened or be a witness or whatever. So my dad knew that day, that cop was going to be in court to get his ass. So my dad skipped the court date and went and robbed the cop's house. No bullshit. I swear this is the truth. This motherfucker skipped the court date, knew that cop was going to be at the fucking courthouse to get his ass. So he went and robbed the fucking cop's house, man. If that ain't some motherfucking shit. So anyway, back to the fucking story. So I'm at these people's houses. They start playing some fucking these programs on the TV, and it's all about heroin addicts and shit. And then they start talking to me, and come to find out, everybody in this fucking house, except for the daughter who was like hanging out with me, everybody was like an ex-heroin addict, and all of them had serious fucking shit. Like the mom, she was sitting there talking like, I used to be a fucking prostitute. I'd sell a piece of ass to get some heroin. I'm like sitting there like, God damn, what the fuck? I mean, you just wide open, ain't you? You know what I mean? You don't give a fuck about nothing. You tell anybody? I mean, just wide the fuck open. So I'm already thinking, man, there's something wrong with these motherfuckers, right? So boom, bam, bit. I ended up staying the night, man. We partied, shit. I ended up passing out. I get up the next day. Shorty Rock brings me back down the road to my house, drops me off. I don't know why I ended up riding with her. But so, I don't know, a day later, I talked to my mom somehow on the phone or something, and she's like, hey, my mother had actually somehow got in contact with the other side of my dad's family. And they were telling my mother that these people are totally wicked and they don't fuck with that sister no more. And, they need the body so they can put the body with my grandparents on my dad's side. They want to, you know, put the ashes, bury the ashes with my grandparents and shit. But at the same time that they're telling my mom this shit, I got the other sister and these people, you know, I'm relaying shit to them, trying to figure out who's the good guy, who's the bad guy. They're sitting there telling me that this side of the family hated my father, never talked to him. They weren't going to fucking put him in the ground with my grandparents. They were actually going to do something like throw the fucking ashes away in the garbage or something because they hated my dad so much. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, right? Gee, what the fuck? So anyway, we'll skip through that. I end up telling the best friends that I met and the sister that I remembered as a kid, and I remembered her being friends with my mother. So I'm like, look, and I don't remember them at all, the other side. And I don't always trust what my mother says, because my mother's a wild motherfucker too, man. I mean, straight up, she's a wild one too. And you can't trust my mother when it comes to my dad because she hated that motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? So if these people really were going to throw his ashes in the trash or something, my mom would probably go along with it. You know what I'm saying? So it was like, who the fuck do you trust and what the fuck do you do? And here's this motherfucking dude who ain't got shit to do with nothing, and it's his dad, and he don't know what to fucking do. So anyway, I ended up telling them, okay, look, I'm just gonna give y'all the ashes, man. Y'all do what the fuck y'all want to do. So I end up getting a call from the place. They're like, all right, your dad's body's been cremated. You can come pick it up. I set up a time and everything. Boom, bam, bip. And I got my uncle to take me because he knew the area where we had to go. So, you know, me and my uncle drive up there. It's like a 2.5 hour drive. We up there and shit. We walk in and the lady comes out and she says, the weirdest thing happened. And I'm like, what? She's like, well, when we cremate the body, we take all the clothes off of them. Everything leaves the body. You know, it's just the body when we put it in the whatever it's called, the crematory, whatever it is. She said, but when the cremation was done, we opened the door and sitting right on top of his ashes, this is the God's honest truth, sitting right on top of the ashes was this stone cross. And it was about, I don't know if y'all can see, it was about that big and about that wide. I still got it. I got it in one of his urns. I'll tell you about these urns in a second. But she says sitting on top of the ashes, the first thing they noticed is all these white ashes with this stone cross that's like bluish black sitting right on top of his ashes. And I'm like, whoa, that's kind of fucking wicked, right? Like, how could he? And they're like, the only thing that we could think is that he swallowed it, but we don't understand how he could have swallowed it because it was too big to go down somebody's throat. So they're saying right before he died, maybe he stuck it in his mouth. And then when they went to do the stuff, they didn't check his mouth. But she said that they do things like that. They check their mouths. You know, when they bring the body in, they got to check everything no matter what. So she doesn't think it was in his mouth. She's like, the only way it could have been is if he swallowed it. I'm like, well, shit. She's like, I'm going to get it. I'm going to give it to you. She ended up giving me this cross. And it was weird. You know what I mean? So I knew I had a brother out there. And I didn't know if I was ever going to meet him or what. You know, nobody could find him. And later on, I ended up finding him. I can tell y'all about that too. But so they had these little urns. And they're about this tall, you know, probably about like that big around. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to give his body to these people. But this is my dad, man. He, you know, my name is after him. You know, I lived a crazy life, and I'm pretty sure my mind has been this crazy a little bit because of this motherfucker. You know what I mean? And even though everybody in the world hated him, maybe I should keep a piece of this dude, especially with this stone cross popping up, making me think that even God's trying to tell me something. You know what I'm saying? Like, man, is that God trying to tell me to watch over this dude's ashes or something? Or or be at peace with it, or something, some kind of sign from that shit. You know what I'm saying? Or maybe that was his sign to me, because maybe he knew, hey, the only motherfuckers that can deal with my body is my son. So one of my sons will get this. And I happen to be the son that had his exact name. These are the things you just think of, though. So anyway, I buy a couple urns, one for me and one for my brother. They give me the urns, and I had the place put a little bit of ashes in each of the urns in a piece of plastic, and then I took my cross and I put that in the urn that I was going to keep. And then I had another urn, and I've been saving that urn for the day that I finally meet my brother in person and I could give him that urn, and it has a little bit of our dad's ashes in it. All the other ashes are just in a big ass Ziploc baggie, and it's in a box. So we end up driving down the road. You know, I pick it up. I sign the paperwork and everything. They're like, the state's taking care of it. Don't worry about it. It's all good. I get back home, and I tell y'all, that's when it hit me. When I had his body and I got home and I was by myself. I didn't have my kids at the time. You know, I was living by myself in my own place. This was around the time when me and my last 3 kids' mother had kind of separated, and we were keeping the kids like 50-50 and shit for a couple months before I got full custody of them. So I'm sitting at the house. It's like I didn't have to work for a couple days. I remember that. And I remember it like really hit me hard. You know what I'm saying? It was weird, you know, and I was drinking and shit. You know how you start drinking, you start getting sentimental. And I'm sitting there with this box that has my dad in it. And I'm like 30 fucking years, man. And I never knew this motherfucker. And here I am sitting by myself. All my kids are gone. All my baby mamas are gone. I'm by my damn self sitting here with this motherfucker all burnt to ashes with this cross. You know what I'm saying? It's just weird. I remember I had a pistol, and I had the pistol sitting with us. Because I felt, as soon as I picked up his body, I said, man, this is going to bring me harm. You know, I've been scared of this dude my whole life, terrified as a little kid. I always heard nothing but horrible things about this dude. And even as I grew harder and tougher as I got older, as I became a teenager and shit, and I actually became harder and stronger as a person, when you feel fear about someone that deeply for so long, if he was alive today and somebody said, there's your dad, I'd probably start shaking and get panicky a little bit, just because that shit was beaten into me so much by my mother. So when I got his body, I immediately felt a threat. You know what I'm saying? Like, this motherfucker's gonna bring nothing but bad shit to my life. You know what I mean? I remember that right off the bat. And then for like 2 days, man, I just drank and fucking thought about shit. But then bad things started happening. But I don't think it was because of him, because some really great things have happened in my life ever since I got him. And I've had him ever since. I'll just tell y'all that. I still got him. He's in a box and he's in my closet. This is no bullshit. But I'm sitting there with his body, and this is no bullshit. I don't fuck with police. I don't when you know, if anybody watches like rappers or anything, if you ever watched Boosie or, you know, like the dudes down in New Orleans and shit, they say they don't work with the police. They don't what's the fucking word, man? Cooperate. You know, and that's how I am, man. I don't cooperate with the police. I talk nice to get them the fuck out my face, and that's it. Well, I'm sitting there, and the fucking feds call me on my phone. I'm sitting there drinking, thinking bad shit. Beside my dad sitting right there beside me in this box. Fucking feds call my phone. We just got a call from my dad's sister. They're saying names and shit. Y'all know I'm not going to throw people's names out there and shit. But the feds had got a call from the sister that I was actually on her side. I was going to give them the ashes This bitch gets paranoid that I'm not going to give him the ashes over nothing now. It's, you know, when I got the body, I was supposed to meet up with them like 5 days later. Like, you know, it was like 5 days later before we could work it out and get together and I could give them the ashes. And I had no fucking problems with it. But she got fucking paranoid because that whole fucking, my whole dad's family is fucking bonkers, man. She calls the feds, tells the feds that I am a imitator, I'm a faker, and that I'm trying to steal her brother's body and act like somebody that I'm not. Now, what I think happened was the other side of the family started fighting with her, and they probably started telling her, well, he already said he's giving us the ashes. Well, no, he told me he's giving me that. No, I talked to his mother. He's giving us the ashes. Like, this is the crazy shit that's going on. Hey, it's fucking unbelievable, these fucking people, man. So I talked to the feds a little bit, and I'm like, look, man, I don't know what the fuck you got going on. I don't know what the fuck they're telling you, man, but you know, you can look me up right now. You know, they asked my name, I said, man, I was just in there. Y'all just locked me up like 2 months ago, and like 6 months ago, I just spent a couple days with y'all, man. Y'all know who the fuck I am. You know what I mean? So after this phone call, the feds, you know, they knew that I really was who the fuck I was. But she kept calling the feds. I got this word from somebody else that she had called them 3 or 4 times. So finally, when I hung up the phone with the feds and shit, and for that next day or two, I'm like, I ain't giving these motherfuckers this body, man. These motherfuckers called the police on me. I don't ever want to see these people again. I don't give a fuck if it's my aunt or not. Like, this bitch is crazy. So I ended up telling the friend's daughter, the one that, you know, I hung out with and I drove up with her up to their house and partied for a night. I'm on the phone with her and she's like, you still going to give us the ashes, right? And I'm like, look, I don't know who the fuck I should be giving these ashes to. Maybe I shouldn't be giving these ashes to nobody. They get all pissed off. They start acting all heartbroken shit and all. Now you're turning on us and it's all about the other side of the family and shit. And I just thought, they're like, we already set up a service for it so people could come to the service, and we know you ain't coming to the service. Fuck no, I ain't coming to the service. I don't know none of you motherfuckers. Y'all motherfuckers crazy. You know, and it's all women. It's all women. And I'm not saying nothing bad about women. But what I'm saying is when you're a man and you're dealing with all these things and you're dealing with like 6 or 7 women, and the women are like, I mean, they some power. Y'all women are powerful, man. And when y'all are crazy, y'all are real powerful. So I'm like, man, I ain't fucking with these motherfucking women, man. I said, look, if you can come down here tonight, because I wanted it to be spurred a moment. I didn't want them, because, you know, they're calling the feds on me. There's a war going on in the family. I don't know nothing about nothing. I'm terrified of my father. So automatically, I'm scared of that whole damn family because of the shit I've heard, these crazy motherfuckers. So I'm like, man, look, if you can come down here, if you can be here in 2 hours, I'll give you the ashes. If you can't be here in 2 hours, you're not getting shit, and I ain't ever gonna fucking give you shit, and we ain't gonna talk on this phone no more. It's done. It's over with. Because I wanted to make sure that nobody couldn't call somebody and get together and then meet me. The next thing you know, I'm getting killed or something, because everybody on that side of the family thinks I'm some fake ass dude. And there was rumors. There was rumors in the family that there are killers on my dad's side, like no bullshit, including my dad. Now, he's dead and gone, so, you know, whatever. This is on fucking video and shit, but he dead and gone, so it ain't like, you know what I'm saying? And I tell you some more about my dad, man. It's kind of wild. I mean, the motherfucker got shot 3 different times. 2 times was like ricochets, though. This motherfucker got shot. I'm going to tell you real quick. This motherfucker got shot, and he was so strung out on dope that he waved the ambulance by because he had just scored a bag of dope. The ambulance shows up. He got shot in the arm or chest or like underneath here or something like that. The ambulance is coming because somebody called the ambulance for him because he got shot. He waves the ambulance by and points down that direction. He's like, they're down there, man. Go. The motherfucker that got shot, he down there. He ran behind a fucking dumpster, fucking bagged up his dope. This ambulance is looking. People are like, nah, the motherfucker waving you and shit. He shoots up some dope and then comes out, runs down to the ambulance and gets in the fucking air. He wanted to make sure he got a fucking, a needle in his arm before he fucking gets taken care of for being shot in the fucking street. Now, this is in D.C., Southeast D.C. So anyway, so the daughter and the daughter's dad, cool motherfucker, probably the only level-headed motherfucker out of all of them. Still a crazy motherfucker. Like, you could tell this dude had no problem getting dirty if he had to get dirty. And his wife was just like gangster as shit. Like, no bullshit. She was an ex-hooker, ex-heroin addict, ex-dealer, everything that's illegal you can think of, man. The girl's mom and then the mom's with the dad. Well, the girl and the dad, they ride down, they show up. Boom, bam, bit. What I did, I forgot this. I forgot to talk about this, but when all the shit was going on, before I agreed for them to come down and shit, I decided I didn't want to give them all the ashes. Now, I couldn't open up the bag of ashes. I couldn't deal with the ashes because it had already hit my soul. I couldn't dig into my father's body like that. You know what I'm saying? So what I did is I had a landlord that lived next door to me. He was like 80 years old. He was a tough old, hard worker. He still worked like 48 hours a week, at his place. But I mean, just he rocked and rolled, man. So I went over to his house and I was like, look, man, I really need to get some of these ashes out and put them in another Ziploc baggie because these people want his ashes for this service. This is before all the shit, this was like, I got the ashes home 2 days after I asked my, Anyway, he ends up taking some ashes, putting them in a different bag for me. I couldn't do it. I couldn't watch him do it. I said, here's the body. I left and he brought it back over to me. He said, yeah, I'll do it. So when they showed up to get the ashes, I only gave them like a little Ziploc baggie. I think all the ashes weighed around, I don't know, 4 or 5 pounds. And I gave them like a half a pound of ashes, which I don't know, y'all. Cause like one thing that fucks me up is when you think about the ashes and if he went to hell or heaven, like, would he be missing something if those ashes were a part of his body? Like, this is the weird shit you think, man. Like, what if I gave them his like right leg and this motherfucker like hopping around in hell? Like, damn, it ain't bad enough I had to be in hell. I had to be without my right leg because my son gave my leg away to these motherfucking people, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, these are the weird shits that you think about. But anyway, I gave the ashes to them people and I acted like that was all the ashes. They knew I had little urns and that I had a little tiny bit of ashes in each urn. But other than that, they thought that was the ashes because they had never dealt with a cremated body or nothing. They didn't know how much ashes it would be and shit like that. So I gave them that. They pull up. I fucking hand them the fucking thing. And I said, that's it for us. I don't hate y'all enough, man, but y'all motherfuckers is too wild. And I ain't never had to deal with this family. And I ain't never going to deal with this family. So I gave them the ashes. They ended up having a service. All hell and war broke out. I heard through my mother and I heard through them because they had called me a couple times after that. All hell broke out. People were fighting over them fucking ashes. They bought a big ass urn, put those ashes in it. The whole side of the family was fighting them. The friends of my dad wouldn't give the ashes to the sister that called the feds on me. So they were beefing. They were beefing with the other side of my dad's family about the fucking ashes, all this and all that and all this and all that. But I still ain't done yet. The bad shit ain't over yet. So I'm out of it. I'm like, cool, man. I'm done. That's all she wrote, man. I got my dad with me. I'm going to keep him around for a minute. I want to see what the fuck this happens. What happens. So I'd say probably a week goes by. Man, I'm running my mouth too much, y'all. Y'all still with me? I know I ain't been looking at the chat and shit. Maybe I'm boring the shit out of y'all, but so about a week goes by. This is probably 2.5 weeks after I picked up his body. The fucking cemetery place calls me up and says, "Hey, when you gonna pay this bill?" I'm like, "What?" Like, "Yeah, you owe like $766 for this. You owe." I said, "Whoa, whoa, whoa." I said, "I paid y'all cash for those urns when I was in there. I ain't got no fucking bill. Y'all said the state was taking." "Oh, no, we must have made a mistake or something, because it's clearly in your name, in your paperwork. You should have the paperwork. You signed for this. You said that you know, it's right in the paperwork that you have to pay for this." I'm like, "Nah, motherfuckers, y'all fucking told me, man." So here I am after all of this shit. I owe this fucking cemetery place like $1,200-1,300 motherfucking dollars for this fucking bag of ashes. You know what I'm saying? Y'all tell me if that ain't some wild ass shit. So that's how I ended up meeting my father after I was like grown up and hadn't seen him since I was like a little 2-year-old boy or something. Ain't that pretty wild? What y'all think? I told them to go fuck themselves. I hit them with a backwoods. I said, "Man, y'all can go fuck yourselves. I ain't paying y'all shit. Y'all told me what the fuck. Sue me." And I lived so off the grid my whole life, like as far as like owning shit and money under the table. And I mean, I can't talk too much on a thing that's being recorded on a video, but I told them to go fuck themselves. They can sue me, you know, do what the fuck you want, man. Have the state call me. I don't give a fuck. And they tried sending me letters in the mail. They tried, you know, blowing up my phone. I forget how many times they called me, probably 100 times within a couple months or some shit, you know, trying to fucking get me to I never answered it. I knew what the fucking phone numbers were. Like, man, fuck y'all, man. Y'all fucking did me dirty. You know, even them motherfuckers going, after I told them the whole thing, you know, I told this lady, I was like, "Look, you know, this motherfucker didn't have shit to do with me, never fucking helped take care of me, never did nothing. He beat my mother half to death 20 fucking times. I mean, when my mother left him, I know I've told y'all this story before. It's true though, man. He had got some heroin and he was fighting. My mom was scared to death of him. So my mom was sitting on the bed. My mom was sitting on the bed holding me. This motherfucker had a chair slid up next to the bed, had his feet cocked up on the bed, had a 12 gauge in his fucking hand with his finger on the trigger, and the barrel of the gun was between his feet because his feet were like crossed on the bed, and he rested the barrel of the gun, and he had it pointed right at me and my mother. And he told my mother, "If that boy cries or you breathe too fucking hard, I'm gonna kill you both. You both are fucking dead tonight. I'm telling you, if he cries or you breathe too hard, you're fucking dead." And she said that they're sitting there, what she said, what felt like a fucking lifetime. And she said that while he was sitting there, the heroin was making him nod out a little bit. And he'd wake back up. And she said every time he nodded out and woke back up, she was scared to death that he was going to accidentally pull that trigger. Because coming out of a nod, he might, you know, just the whatever it's called, man, where your finger just might pull the fucking trigger. So she said she was just watching him. She wasn't doing shit. She said she wasn't breathing too hard. She said she don't know why, but I didn't make a fucking sound. And then damn sure enough, she said that he nodded out, and she could tell that he really nodded the fuck out. And she said that she slipped up out of the fucking bed and dipped. Now, I remember we were at my grandparents' apartment building. It was Forest Village Apartments in Forestville, Maryland. And I was a little motherfucker, y'all. I'm telling y'all, man. And that's why my mind fucks me up, because I don't know if I was 2 or 3 or what, man. But I remember that we crawled underneath this apartment in the apartment building, you had the foundation of the building, and it had bricks missing, center blocks missing. And I remember my mom saying, "Oh fuck, there he is. Oh fuck, there he is." And we fucking crawled underneath this apartment building where these bricks were, and we were like right by it, and there was a car circling around the fucking parking lot. And she's like, "That's him, don't make a noise. That's him, don't." And I don't remember her saying, "That's him, don't make a noise" and shit. But she had told me the story later on, but I had remembered, and that's why she told me the story, I believe, because I told her, "What was it when we were climbing underneath them bricks when I was a little tiny motherfucker?" But there's something about me that's a little bit, people don't believe me. Even Denise is like, "Nah, that can't be." But there's certain things that I remember when I was really, really little. And I've talked to my mother about it and explained it, and she's told me, like, there's this one time when I was born, my mother worked at like a beauty shop for hair and shit. And I remember playing with Play-Doh. Now, she didn't work at this beauty shop after I had turned 1. But I remember playing with Play-Doh in the bathroom, watching my mother get ready for work. And she remembered it. And she said she was getting ready for work to work at that hair salon. But she didn't work at that hair salon after I was 1 year old. So this would have to be a memory that I remember before I was fucking 1 year old. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of hard to believe and kind of hard to understand. But I don't know. It's just weird, man. I'm talking y'all to death tonight, man. My fault. My fault. This motherfucker was crazy, though, man. So after that on the bed with the shotgun shit, my mother never went back. Like that was it for her. She said, you know, I remember one time we was at a hospital up in DC, and I was like sitting outside with my uncles or something like that, and my mother come out and looked like she looked like a ghost. I mean, she looked terrified, and she said, "Put me in the car." I almost said, "Put me in the car. Put him in the car. Put him in the car." And I'm like, "Why I gotta get in the car?" But I'm just this little kid. I was a little kid. I was probably 5 or 6. And she reached in the car and she was like, "I just seen your dad in the hospital. We got to get up out of here." This is how terrified she had me of this dude. And this is how terrified she was of this dude. Because my dad was a wild motherfucker, man. So, anyway, I seen all this bad shit happening. But then after I kept his body and got through all the hardships of getting his body, life started to change. And I'm being serious, y'all. Life started to change. After I got his body, I ended up getting custody of my 3 kids. Whoo! Lord, Lord, Lord. A lot of good shit happened. My whole life turned around. My entire fucking life changed after I kept his body. And it was for the good. And I've never looked back. I was no longer hurting people. People weren't hurting me. I met Denise. I got custody of my kids. all the trouble I was in with like courts and shit, that all went away. Like life just got solid. So now I just keep him, man, and he stays in my closet, you know. Shit goes deep. Woo! You know how when people have you ever talked to somebody and they say, man, I can't talk about that. Nah, I don't want to talk about that. I don't care, man. I don't want to talk about that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can understand that. Cause I tell y'all something, man. Sometimes when I talk about shit for the next couple days, you get fucked up. And you gotta hide that shit, from your wife or your kids or whoever you're around. I'm sure that some of y'all in this chat, man, y'all know what I'm talking about, man. There's certain things when it comes up and you really go there in your brain and you bring that shit back, that shit'll fuck you up. And like me and Denise, I was talking to her the other night, and I started talking to her. I said, "Look, I know you've heard about these things, but I really want to say these things because it just doesn't make sense to me. I don't know anybody else that has ever had to go through this, and how a person couldn't be. How could a motherfucker get through it and still be sane, and still, get on with life and keep moving, keep it moving." And even Nisi, she was like, there ain't nobody that's ever had to go through that except for maybe somebody that's been in, the war, Vietnam or something, because they, lost 30 motherfuckers that they, got together. And I said, yeah, but that's 30 motherfuckers that they met when they got in the army and shit. And yeah, they, you become brothers and you become tight, but you didn't spend 30 years knowing these motherfuckers. You didn't spend 20 years knowing these motherfuckers. Yeah, and I'm going to talk about it, y'all. It goes deep. Let me get this cigarette in me. Y'all good? Y'all good? We straight? I talk about let's jam out for a second before I get into it. Let's hear a beat. You know what I'm saying? No sound? Oh shit, I gotta add it, y'all. My bad, my bad. Thanks for letting me know. Nisi let me know. I'm sitting here jamming out. Y'all sitting there like, tribe, when you gonna hit play, motherfucker. When we gonna hear the beat. There you go. We good. All right. Let's hear it real quick. All right, we good? Let me know if we're good. Give me a thumbs up, niece. All right. All right, one more. Y'all might not have heard this one. I don't know. I don't know if I played it or not. And I salute y'all. That's called pileated. I think I did share that with y'all. I remember telling y'all about pileated because it's like the woodpecker and shit. Anyway, all right. So let me dig in. Let me dig in. Damn, that was an hour. I talked about my dad for an hour. No wonder I'm all fucked up. Anyway, man. You know, I want to dig into something, man, because you know we all tight, man. Y'all hang with me tight. You know, every time I go live and shit, man. Especially y'all hang with me, whether it's members or not members, man. Y'all always come. Y'all are my friends, man. And I say things, like I say, I've been in the gutter. Oh, all my homies have died. Shit, I had a lot of everybody in my life has died. Like when I say these things, like I mean them. Like I'm not bullshitting. And that does something to a person. You know, it's it it's not cool, but it's normal to deal with loss. It's normal for a person to have to lose somebody. Death is a part of life. Everybody's going to have to deal with somebody dying in their life. You know what I mean? Usually, somebody might get away with living for a long time and then having a great life and nobody dies and then they die first and they don't have to deal with that grief. But there ain't too many motherfuckers. There ain't nobody that I've ever met ever that has had to deal with as many motherfuckers dying in their life. And I'm not bullshitting y'all. And maybe some of y'all have dealt with a lot of death. Maybe y'all have dealt with more death than me, but I tell you, I've never met anyone that's had to deal with as much death that I had to deal with. Maybe someone would have to deal with somebody that, committed suicide in their life. But I've dealt with that like 3 or 4 times. And I'm talking about with people that were like close to me. So many motherfuckers have died. I've told y'all before, I can sit here and tell y'all a story about me in the car with like 5 other motherfuckers, and we're all going to a party. And right now I can picture that car, and every other person in that car would be a ghost because they're all dead. Now, when I was coming up, I was with my mother, but my mother was wild. And I ended up not living with my mother, and I lived with my 2 brothers and their grandmother. And I consider their grandmother my grandmother, and I consider like a foster parent. I was never done by papers and shit like that, but sometimes you don't have to, man. You just end up being with some people. So, and there was other families, you know what I mean? Like there was this other family. I had this little homie. His name was Little Joe. And his mom and dad, his dad, fucking terrible dude, man. He not a terrible dude, but he's a terrible dude, man. You know, my buddy Lil Joe, he had to come up with his dad beating his mom's ass. You know what I'm saying? Putting his hands on her and shit. He was a raging alcoholic, like one of them types that they get 6 beers in them and they turn into this fucking monster. And it wasn't until us he couldn't do that shit with us because we will fuck his ass up. You know what I mean? Because we were some tough little motherfuckers, man. We will fuck his ass up. So we would protect her and shit. And whenever he would get drunk, I mean, I watched Lil Joe beat his ass like 5 times, like straight up whooping his motherfucking ass. And you just sitting there. I mean, one time I was like giggling and shit because Little Joe had his ass all wrapped up and his dad was breathing funny. And he was pissed off because he was losing the fight. And I'm sitting there giggling, and Little Joe's mom looks over at me and she's like, "This ain't funny." And I just remember feeling like an asshole, you know what I mean? Like, fuck, man. I can't. I laugh at everything, man. Like, it's the way I deal with stuff when it's in the danger zone. When shit's bad, I might be giggling. There might be some really bad shit happening, and I'm giggling at one little thing about it, just because that's how I got to deal with things. Because there's been a lot of hard times, but like Little Joe, he hung himself from a tree. You know, my 2 brothers and my grandmother, my oldest brother, fuck it. I can't do it. Let's see what y'all talking about. People talk about like PTSD and shit. I get so mad. I get so mad at motherfuckers that like live on the streets. They're not in the military. I mean, not live on the streets, but they're just not in the military. And they try to say that they got PTSD. And once you get to know them, you realize that they hardly went through anything in life whatsoever. I just end up hating those people, man, because I'm just like, you're robbing people of some serious shit, man. I think you can have. I think people can have PTSD from regular living without being in the military and shit, man. You can go through so much loss and hurt and pain and shit that happens and all the shit you go through, and I think you can end up getting that shit, man, without being in the military and shit. And then when you go through a life that's really fucking wild, and I use words that I could probably use a lot more words that would describe it better, but y'all can feel me. Y'all know where I'm at, man. When you don't get help, when you learn, mm, it's gonna be fucked up if life ends up being like all for nothing. You know what I'm saying? If we leave this motherfucker, man, and there ain't nothing after, and you go through all this shit just to go through all this shit, it's gonna be a motherfucker if it ain't for a reason. There better be a reason. That's all I'm saying. There better be something. But there's reasons why I'm the way I am. You know, I've said it. I don't know if I've said it. You know, I've said it to Niecy. Niecy knows me though, man. But when I say I'm broken or I'm damaged, like for real, and I'm not trying to do this for attention, y'all. This is a place to let loose, man. This is the underground, and the whole reason I even started doing fucking videos and shit was really so my kids and my grandkids could know me after I'm gone. So the more I did the secret society and then started doing this underground stuff again, I was like, man, I need to really go there, man. I need to really go there and throw that shit out there. That way they may not understand why I'm the motherfucker that I am today. But maybe after I'm gone and they go back and they listen to me, they'll understand. You know? I'm trying to explain a little bit of, you know, why I am the way I am. Like I don't get close to people. I don't. And I get very close to people. You understand what I'm saying? Like people get attached to me like real bad. They do. And then they get really hurt when I don't give that attachment back to them. But there's reasons why I am the way I am. And I don't do it on purpose. And I probably love some of these motherfuckers more than half of the motherfuckers that's ever loved them. You know what I'm saying? But it'll never show up in a way that they'll understand just how much a motherfucker can love a motherfucker. But it's just not going to show. And if they was to die or something like that, I handle that different, man. I've been through at least 20 deaths of everybody around me that's ever been close to me. Everybody. And there's been so much death. A lot of my enemies have died. Like, it's so fucked up that I guarantee you there's people in my real life that probably stopped fucking with me because they probably thought, man, there's no fucking way. There's no fucking way that every single motherfucker that was ever around him has died and he ain't had something to do with it or some shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just doesn't fucking happen, man. You don't lose everybody. But when you lose everybody, you build something inside of yourself that is like the fucking Terminator, man. It's no bullshit. Like, you could be I'm very sentimental, man. I could be very sentimental. Like, I was crushed when my cat died. I mean, heart broke. I couldn't talk for a day. But I'm to the point now that when a human being goes, it's like, all right. I mean, it's just another one, man. You know what I mean? Like, that whatever that is, you know, some people can lose somebody and they'll be completely fucking devastated, man. It'll just fucking rip them in half. But I think that has happened to me before in life a few times to where I've done built up whatever the fuck it is to where if somebody dies now, I'm just like, all right. It's like hearing somebody fix their car. you know, and it'd be somebody really close to you, man. And like my kids didn't understand that, you know, because my kids been around for like 20 years now. And there was a time when I lost a best friend, Mark. I lost my half brother, Lewis. I lost one of the best friends I had growing up, James. I lost little Sean. I lost my uncle who taught me the whole rug game and pretty much raised me after my first uncle blew his brains out when I was like 11 because I never knew my dad. Y'all know that because of what I talked about earlier. Like I've lost a lot of motherfuckers. I lost my cousin Jean, you know, my cousin Becky. I grew up with her, but like I've been through a lot of loss just with, you know, with the last three kids that I've had. They've been with me, and like there's been times, you know, I hear somebody had died and like really close to me, and I'll crack a joke on it and bust out laughing, and my kids will look at me in disgust, like, how can dad be like that? Like if that was me, I wouldn't know what to do with myself. I probably wouldn't want to fucking live anymore. That's how hurt I'd be in it. You know, my kids probably think I'm like an evil motherfucker, but they don't understand the armor that you put on inside and the person that you turn into when you deal with so much. And I really do. I have lost enough motherfuckers to where I could hang with a motherfucker that's been in the military in the war and their buddies have been killed in battle. And I can hang with them with numbers, man, without a doubt. Like I have no fucking doubt in my mind. But it makes it hard on friendships. It makes it hard on relationships. I mean, relationships with my kids. It's hard for me. Like there's walls up everywhere. I don't like to be touched like by anybody. Like I'll jump. Like I could be sitting beside Denise. If she reaches over and touches me on my leg, I jump. Just get you all fucked up. You know what I'm saying? Like life can beat you up, man. You can become damaged. You can become broken. And when I was a little kid, I think I'm pretty sure I was like a feral person. You know what I'm saying? My mom had like 5 different husbands. She would get married and 2 weeks later not be with the motherfucker and shit. She was a wild motherfucker, man. But she was with this one dude. His name was Albert. And he ended up being friends with my uncle. And before my uncle passed away, we were all sitting in my uncle's van. You know, we would always hang out in the van and we would drink and smoke some weed and shit. And he was there. You know, I had seen him through the years after him and my mom split up. My mom still holds his last name. They never even got a divorce, but they haven't been together in like shit 30 some years. But he told me that when he met my mother, the reason he stuck with my mother is because when he met me, there was a blankness in my eyes. And he said, "You were there, but you weren't there." And he had never told me this before. He was like, "Dude, I'm telling you, man, you was a kid like no other kid I had ever known. You were not there. You did not care about anything. You did not know anything. You were just." So it was like I was feral. And he said if he never did nothing else in life good, he said that he thinks he did good by that because he snapped me out of that feralness when I was a kid. You know what I'm saying? It's pretty wild to hear, man. You know what I mean? And I've always known that there's been some screws missing. You know what I'm saying? There's always been some screws missing. But it's just a part of life, man. It's just a part of life. But when you go through a bunch of shit in life, man, it changes you. You end up not being able to be, no matter how hard you try, no matter how hard. That's why I try to, when I really care about somebody, I talk a lot. And I try to tell them a lot because it's not going to show. It's just not going to show. I can love somebody and be happy as shit to be around them. And then the next day, not be around them, and not hear from them for 3 fucking years, and I'm straight and I don't think about it. I don't miss. Like, I don't miss the miss. That shit got wiped out. I don't miss people. I don't miss anything ever. It's fucking weird, right? But when people love you and you don't miss them, it fucks them up, man. They get mad at you and shit, and they start acting different and shit. It's like I can't help it. I can't help that. I've tried to make myself, I try. It doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel. It's not real. You know what I mean? Like, if I sit there and say, "Oh, I missed you," it's not real, and I hate that. I hate that feeling when you say something when it ain't 100. You know what I'm saying? So, life's life, man. But hopefully, people will understand, man. I'm gonna be who I'm gonna be. I'm gonna be that damaged, broken motherfucker. And I'm not always gonna be talking about this shit and going there. I wanted to go there, man, but I keep getting like sidetracked in my head, man, and getting feelings in me that I can't get. I gotta leave it alone. So maybe on another one I'll get. I really wanted to break down all the, because I think it would blow y'all's mind if I just told y'all. I could tell y'all about 10 people and tell y'all about how fucking close we were and how they were there in my life all the time, and they're all fucking dead. And that ain't half of the motherfuckers that are dead. It's fucking insane, y'all. It's fucking insane. I mean, you hear about it, a friend losing a friend. You even hear sometimes somebody will have, "Oh, there was a car accident and all 3 of my friends died." Like, I wish that would have been the case. You know what I'm saying? Because then you can chalk it up to, okay, they all 3 died. Maybe they're all together in heaven and shit. You know what I'm saying? But no, it's just like one after the other, 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 after the other. And if anybody's dealt with it, it changes you. Imagine losing somebody who's close right now. If y'all are with me in the chat, imagine, and maybe some of y'all have, and I know some of y'all have. Imagine the one person that's closest to you dies and how that would change you as a person. It would change you a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Maybe a whole lot. When my uncle blew his brains out when I was 11, he was 22. My mother changed from that point on and was never the same person again. So I know that one death can completely turn a human being into a whole nother human being, because I witnessed it and lived through it with my mother and seen it. And at the same time, I was dealing with it. And he was like the only male that was ever close to me. So as a kid, I couldn't even deal. I didn't even have the consoling or something, because she was so fucked up. So it was like, God damn, man, what the fuck? I'm 11. You got to handle it. I'm sitting here consoling you. I'm 11, motherfucker. And my family's crazy. Like, when my uncle blew his brains out, I go to my other uncle's house, within a week or two, and he's getting drunk. We're out in his shed. Now, he's done passed and gone. I tell y'all, man, this life's been a motherfucker, y'all. But we're out in the shed, and this motherfucker starts talking about when they went to the house after he blew his brains out. I'm 11 years old. He just died like a week or two ago. 2 days before he died, I was at his house spending the night with him, because I always spent the night over his house with him and his wife. His wife, crazy ass motherfucker too. But I was just with him like the night. Like, I was at his house spending the night. I came home. It went to the next day, and that evening he blew his brains out. But they were sitting there telling me about how his head was hanging off of the ceiling, and there was chunks of his skull and hair fragments and shit on the ceiling. And my uncle was really fucked. He was drunk, and he was like really fucked up about it. And it was like he had nobody else to talk to. He only had his little nephew, me, 11-year-old motherfucker to sit there and say these things about, but here I am, you know, this motherfucker, he lived with my mom and shit. Him and his wife lived with my mom for like most of my life. And then they ended up living in this basement that was her parents. They rented out a basement that was like an apartment from her parents. And he had just moved out the house from living with my mother and shit when all this shit went down. But it's kind of hard to hear that this motherfucker that you love so much that his whole fucking head is splattered all over the fucking ceiling when you're 11 years old. You know what I'm saying? It does something to you. But I was raised different, man. Like, you know, I was born in the mid 70s. My mom was 17. I mean, she used to get me high when I was a little tiny motherfucker, man. She would shoot shotguns in my mouth. I remember one time they made me stand up and try to walk, and I walked to the other end of the couch and sat back down, and like the whole room started laughing. I was sitting beside my mother. She blew a fucking shotgun in my face. Sat there for a couple minutes. They were like, get up and let him walk. Get up and let him walk. I remember, and I could only walk to the other edge of the couch, and I got, climbed back up on the couch, and everybody was laughing their ass off, man. I'm like, damn, that's fucked up. I could roll a perfect joint at age 5. I could break up the weed, put it in the fucking paper, and roll a perfect joint. I used to roll joints all night long for everybody partying and shit when I was like 5 years old. It's just, I'm gonna be different, like, yeah, I don't get everybody following me on the tube, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not gonna be a channel that blows up because, oh, I give out good information and all this. Nah, man, I'm a broken motherfucker. I'm a damaged soul, man, and I'm gonna be who I'm gonna be, and I hang out with the fellas I hang out with, and hopefully they stick with me and stay friends with me. But if they don't, like, I don't do the missing, man. I don't do it. It's just not in me. So, it is what it is. Love these fellas, but I mean, what can you do, man? I can't be nothing more than what I am. So life has built me the way I am, and it is what it is, y'all. It is what it is. Press one. You know what I'm saying? I couldn't look in the chat as I was talking about shit, man, because if y'all said something nice, man, I'd get choked up and shit. You know what I'm saying? But what scares me the most, like throughout all that shit, and I'll talk about more of it on when I'm on a different level, man. I guess I talked about my dad too much. It put me in a spot. You know what I'm saying? I talked about him for an hour, man, and told that whole story. It brought me back, and it just fucked me up. So I'll get into some more shit on another underground joint. But what scares me the most is, like, if you think about this, a person that has had to deal with as many losses as me, and the way I've had to deal with losses, like how cruddy they were and how fucked up they were and the situations behind them and everything, and so many. I look at it like, man, is God building me up for this fucking doomsday that's coming? You know? Because I feel like life does shit to you so you can handle the next thing to come. And when I think about my life and all the shit that I've been through, I'm like, fuck, man. I'm like, I could be I could definitely survive with a bunch of dead motherfuckers around me. Like, I could definitely survive if a bunch of people died and shit. And it makes you wonder, like, why would he do that by the time I was 40? You know what I mean? By the time I was 40. So it's kind of weird. Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. No doubt. No doubt. I salute y'all, man. I salute y'all. We can change the subject, though. So that's enough talking about how life does, man. You know? It's crazy though. I'm glad I got some of it out though. I'm glad I told y'all the story about my dad, man. It's crazy. Yeah, y'all think a motherfucker that is y'all think he could be like a guardian angel? Like he could be so fucked up on this planet and be so fucked up to so many, murder motherfuckers, beat motherfuckers, haunt motherfuckers. I mean, cause after all that shit happened, let me get a drink. After all that shit happened, man, I ended up finding some of these family and shit and on Facebook. And I got to talk to like my cousins and shit. And I asked them, I said, man, do you, I want to ask y'all, because y'all knew him. Do y'all think that this motherfucker would have killed me when I was a kid? Do you think my mom had a right to tell me that? You know what I'm saying? Oh, Tiger, I appreciate you. I appreciate you. You've always been straight up and honest. I have mad respect for you. All your life experiences made you who you are today. I think you're a good I appreciate you, Tiger. Appreciate you. But do y'all think that an evil motherfucker walking the planet could die and then be a guardian angel? Because seriously, man, after I got his body and shit and went through the whole shit of getting his body and it wasn't easy. It wasn't an easy situation for like a month. But then after that, I get custody of my 3 kids. Look, there ain't too many dudes out here that can win custody in court of 3 little kids that never had a dad, that is all fucked up inside, doesn't know how to connect with people, but yet could pull out being a dad and raising 3 kids and win it in court, get full custody of all 3 of them. Then you meet the love of your life, end up getting married. Life just turned out to be fucking awesome. And it's like, I wonder if having him with me, because it was like my whole life changed after that. You know what I'm saying? Grace and grit, appreciate you. Thank you. You ain't got to do that, though. You ain't got to do that, but I appreciate it. No bullshit. What y'all think, man? Or y'all just think life just ended up starting to go good? It ain't really have nothing to do with that motherfucker. That's how but I don't know. I kind of think maybe that's why I don't want to get rid. Like I thought about like spreading his ashes in the bay or spreading his ashes in the Patuxent River and finally getting him out of here. But now I'm kind of scared because like if I get rid of his body, if I get rid of the ashes, what if everything starts going bad and shit? You know what I mean? Like, oh shit, I ain't gonna be able to get him back after that. So I think I'm just gonna hang on to him, keep dad around. Like y'all don't know how crazy I am. Like I've actually had people over partying and shit. Like, 20, 30 motherfuckers in the house. And I'm like, man, y'all want to meet my dad, man? And they're like, what do you mean? I'm like, man, my dad, man. He kind of quiet and shit, but y'all want to meet him? They're like, yeah, we want to meet your dad. Where your dad at? I'm like, man, I'm going to go get him real quick. They're like, what? And I'll go get the box and shit and bring it out and be like, here's my dad, motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of crazy, but the shit we do, you know what I'm saying? I hear that, Tiger. I hear you. Ain't it kind of wild that fucking cross was sitting on top of his ashes when they opened that door? That blows me away to this day. Like, I'll never get rid of that cross. There's something about that. Still confuses me. But I don't know if y'all ever heard me say, I know Native was there. I think Native was there, just Josh. When I said it seems like God's been trying to grab a hold of me. You know what I'm saying? If there's a God, he's been trying to grab a hold of me, man. He's putting people in my life that believe in him so deeply. There's been signs and shit that have, Nisi totally believes. That cross on my dad's ashes. Just being able to go through all the shit that I've been through and still be able to pull off shit like, I mean, I was a rough dude, man. I was a rough dude. Like anybody that knew me when I was younger, they'd be like, man, please don't let him have to be a single. They would never wanted me to be a single father, man. I was a bad motherfucker. You know what I mean? Not bad towards kids and shit like that, but I was out in the streets and I was doing dirt. You know what I mean? It's just how it was. I ain't play no games. But I don't know. Now I'm just rambling. My bad. So what's up, y'all? Friday night. I think so. I think so, random. Sometimes. I think he keeps trying to grab me. I think the only reason I don't really latch on to God, or I don't completely go there with like Jesus or Christianity and stuff like that, I feel like I feel ugly inside. You know what I mean? I've been through a lot of shit, man, and it just makes you hard and harsh, and it just I don't. If there's a God and Christianity is Christian, like I don't think deep down inside, just myself, and I'm not trying to get y'all to say, yeah, you do, tribe, yeah, you do, but I don't feel like I deserve that. I don't think I'm good enough for that. You know what I mean? Like I got some demons, man. I got some wicked ass demons in me, and I don't want to bring it. It would be like me bringing in 4 demons walking behind me when I walk into church or something, or 6 demons. You know what I mean? Like I wrote something down the other day. I said, what the fuck did I say? Where is it, man? I wrote it down. I said something like, I got a good heart, but it's in the hands of demons or some shit like that. It's on a piece of paper somewhere, man. It just came to me, and I was like, man, I need to write that in a poem or something. But yeah, think so, random. Yeah, I feel you, Chris. I feel you, man. That's true, Monique. That's true. I'm with you. Meditation, soul searching. Give it a shot. Ask your angels, spirits, and guides to lead you. That's a dangerous thing, Sophia. It's a dangerous thing. It can bring out some bad shit, man. You know, sometimes I get a little worried when I talk about shit. I was trying to explain this earlier, but like when you fucking go there and you dig deep into your own soul and you really look at parts of your life and shit that you've been through that you really didn't fuck with at the time. Because there's a lot of times when bad shit happen, and I, like I said, I'll laugh that shit off, and I know I don't care. Fire all around me, and I'm walking like it's fucking cold outside. You understand what I'm saying? And when you go there, man, it can fuck you up for a couple days, man. It can change how you're being for them couple days. Like it can fuck you up. You can be mad for 2 days, be an asshole for 2 days. You try not to go there. You know what I mean? Some of the shit's so dark, man. It just fucks you up. You know what I mean? Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. I hear you, Tiger. I hear you. No doubt. Yeah, that's something I believe, Chris. I don't believe in a building like having to go to church. I was just using that as a figure of speech. It's like when I say church, I'm talking about like if I go to God, it's like I'm bringing enemies with me that you know what I mean. And I know I guess he's the all powerful and shit. Like he could probably brush them jokers off. He probably beat them up and take them up off my back, probably, man. But I know it's hard. It's hard to think about this too. Think about this too. If you lose a bunch of people, this is where it gets kind of dark too. Because if you lose a bunch of people, let's say you lose 4 people, and you know that 2 of them were good as gold. They were the best people to ever walk the planet. You know their heart was pure. You know they going to heaven, and you love them 2 people, but you love these other 2 people. And you know that they were some ruthless motherfuckers. And you think, well, maybe they're going to hell. But then times it by 10. You've lost 20 people and you've got people going both ways. When you're still on this planet, and I've really thought this, like, well, where do I want to go, man? Do I want to be with them in heaven, or do I want to be with, I want to see my friends and family again? And they ain't all going to heaven. And I don't know if I can make it there. I don't know if I'll get the pass or not. You know what I mean? So what do you do about that? How do you deal with those thoughts? How do you know? Do you really want to go to heaven? Man, let's say all your people went to hell. Do you really want to go to heaven and never see none of your people again? It's kind of wicked, man. Yeah, I feel you, Magic. That's true, Sean. That's true. But I'm just going by, what the rules are supposed to be. Well, I mean, I don't know. Maybe they all went to heaven. That would be awesome. Because then, if I can get it, hey, if they went to heaven, maybe I could get there too. Reincarnation. I hear that, Monique. I think Denise's mom is Buddhist. Yeah, she's 100% Vietnam. So there's a lot of Buddhism in Vietnam. You know what I mean? You think so, Betty? Man, that Bible stuff, man, it's a trip. Every day with my Christianity and paganism. It is what it is. I pray, but I also dance naked around a fire and worship Mother Earth. Yeah, it is what it is. My heart is good and my intentions. I hear that, Sophia. No doubt. No doubt. You want to go to Thug Mansion, G? Once you are saved, you understand everyone has a choice and you accept or not. That's me. I can't make anyone choose. I hear that, Random. No doubt. Still makes you think, though, a little bit, right? Like, damn, with so many motherfuckers dead, when I die, is there gonna be a bunch of motherfuckers up here like, Tribe, come on up here, man? And a bunch of motherfuckers, Tribe, don't go up there, man. We down here partying like shit, man. I'd be torn, y'all. You know what I mean? I'd be torn. Maybe I'll get cremated and get Niecy to like put my body in two different bags and send one to heaven, send one to hell. You know what I'm saying? Shit. Man, it's been interesting, man. I appreciate y'all listening, man. Let me get some shit off my chest. You know what I'm saying? I want to get a lot on video, so my kids and shit, man, they'll have this shit. They'll know the truth, and there'll be a little bit of understanding. I think that's what we all need, don't y'all? It's understanding. Because we can put up with a lot of shit, man. When you love somebody, you can put up with a lot of shit with them if you understand why things happen the way they do. And you can also get away from pieces of shit once you understand that, hey, they're just selfish pieces of shit who don't give a fuck about you whatsoever. And you can walk the fuck away. Understanding is huge in life. No doubt, Lady Smith. No doubt. For all the rest of eternity is all that awaits in hell. Yeah, I hear that, Mrs. Plummer. No doubt. Cavender's Boot City. I ain't never heard that secret. Cavender's Boot City. Nope, never heard of it. Yeah, I told Nisi that when I die, this is my wishes. When I die, I want to be cremated and I want half of my ashes to go in the Patuxent River and half of my ashes in the Chesapeake. Even if we move away, she knows that she's got to come back to Maryland and put my ashes in the Chesapeake and in the Patuxent. Because out of everything else in life, when it comes to this land, this earth, Mother Earth, like Sophia said, I feel more connected to that Chesapeake Bay and that Patuxent River than any other land, any tree, any animal, any human. Like I just anytime I'm on that water, I feel at home. You know what I'm saying? It's a deep feeling of I am supposed to be right here. And it's not like the first time you ever go to the beach and you're like, ooh, this feels good. I've been at this water since I was born. And I still feel it every single time. Y'all just don't know. Every time I come home or leave, I gotta pass through and pass by that opening where the fucking water is, the Chesapeake Bay. I never have once not cherished it as I drive by. Like there's something about it to me. It just goes deep. And when I come through, man, I'm just looking and I'm watching where I'm going, but I'm just looking and I'm every single time, I probably said it 1,000 times. I'm so blessed to be able to drive past this. You know what I'm saying? So that's where I want myself to go. I get caught up in it. My bad. Rambling on, rambling on. You want to be donated to science? I hear that. I had somebody say that to me. They were like, when you don't donate, your body, like how selfish is that? Like you're dead, you're gone, your body's just gonna go away. Why not try to help people with it? Why not? I just don't know, man. I don't know. What if because some old time religions and some old thoughts and beliefs are, if you die without your eyes, you go blind in the afterlife. You know what I mean? Like what about ghosts and spirits and stuff too? You know what I mean? Yeah, like what if you donate your eyes and then you die? Once you die, I mean, maybe you see the light right away, but what if it takes a minute and they end up taking your eyes because you donated them and then you can't see the light? So now you're wandering around Earth as a spirit because you gave your eyes up. Oh, well, if you're in heaven, though, you become whole again. It doesn't matter. You're talking heaven one. That's what you believe? No, that's what it says. Oh, that's what the Bible said? Yeah. Nisi said you become whole again. Whatever's wrong with you on Earth will be perfect in heaven. No sicknesses. Man, that'd be an awesome place to go. Yeah. The whole body, everything. The riddled bullet should be the whole body be fine. That's deep. Body, because you're not a physical body. Right. That's deep. You're not to be blind, you're not to be deaf, you're not to be sick. I don't know, man. I don't know. Every time I drive across the Hampton Roads Bridge tunnel, I open my window and smell the salt air. I love it. I hear that, Buttercup, no doubt. Them buried on my land. I hear that, Sophia, no doubt. Like my dad's family, man, they come from West Virginia. Like they some serious hillbillies. Like for real, hillbillies. Like mountain people. They live in this. If you look it up, like I'm not gonna put all my business out there, but if you look it up where they're at, it's like on the side of a mountain, and it's a little town, and that's just what it is. It's cut off from everybody. I can't imagine 100 years ago. I hear that, Mrs. Plummer. Totally whole and no sickness. I hear that, Betty. Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. Gia, Gia, I'm with you, Random. I'm with you. I don't know how you're supposed to spell it. Tell you the truth, I'm not. You might be spelling it right with GIA. You might be spelling. Uh, who knows? Graceland, Grace. That's what's up. See, everybody's got their own, thoughts and what they want to happen to them after they die and shit, man. It's interesting, man. Everybody's got something different. Mr. Plumber. No doubt, no doubt. Well, we almost at the 2 hour mark, y'all. I gotta spend the whole day tomorrow doing firewood. We're gonna be splitting firewood and then bringing it back here and stacking it up. We're trying to stack up because we don't know what's gonna happen with all this diesel and the K1 and shit. Our heater for our house, it uses the K1 heater, so we gotta have that oil. I don't know what's going on with that. Yeah, TT1, no doubt. I've been thinking about that too. I want Nisi to make one too. That shit's important, man. The older you get, more important. And the men in my family, on both sides of the family, man, they don't make it to 60. Like I got that uncle that's 75. He's like the only male going back to the grandfathers and great grandfathers and shit, like bloodline, like all 30, 40s, and 50s. And there's a lot of them. Like I have 5 uncles. He's the only one that made my uncle that pretty much raised me and taught me everything after my other uncle died. He died right at 60. Like it was like 3 months after he turned 60 or something. So he did make it to 60, but he was exactly 60. You know what I'm saying? All the rest of them, 52, 54, had an uncle die, 32. My dad died in his younger 50s. My grandfather died in his younger, I think he was 54, 52. Like all of them died young, man. So I don't know if I'll make it to 60. So I got to start thinking about it too. I'm 47 now, man. Who knows when the heart attack going to hit me or some cancer shit with these dumbass things. You know what I'm saying? Should have a will though. That's the worst thing in the world. Y'all ever had to deal with like a family member dying and having to deal with who gets what? Man, some selfish people, man. There's some selfish people, man. Families will tear themselves apart over a car or over a fucking property or something. Damn. Mr. Plumber, you better watch out. That shit gonna hurt. Good Lord. Oh, yeah, Betty? You got that right, Lady Smith. Man, I don't know. Shit. By that time, this might look like Mars. Y'all ever wonder if maybe we were on Mars and then had to hop that planet because we got so fucking ahead in the intelligence and shit, we ended up coming up with new. Y'all ever think that this could be like the 100th time that we've done this? That humanity builds up, but because we always fight and always become enemies and we're so selfish as beings and shit, and then we get to the point where we're smart enough to know about nuclear and we end up using it to kill off every fucking thing and we got to start all over again. How could these people say that they're smart? How could these people be so selfish and so much of pieces of shit that they would even threaten to use a nuclear weapon, man? It doesn't make you sick. Like y'all got to be the stupidest motherfuckers ever, man. They won't stop until they come up with a bomb that'll blow up the entire universe in one hit. Like it's always got to be bigger and better, bigger and better, bigger and better. You know what I mean? Yeah, Chris, no doubt. I've seen some pictures, man. Looks kind of fucking weird. Doesn't look like natural. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, humans, man. We be fucking some shit up, man. You will be shown some of your past life. I have been my own 5 times great grandmother. That's what's up. Sometimes I think dreams can have parts of your past lives in them. You know what I mean? When you're dreaming, and then you wake up and you're like, damn, you sit there and have a conversation with somebody in your dream and you swear you have never seen them before in your life. You have no idea who they were, but you're talking about like some serious shit in your dream and shit. And you're like, how? What the fuck? How does my mind come up with this person? You know what I mean? But then I've heard, like, well, it could have been somebody you were walking in New York and just walked by somebody and never met them and shit, but your mind remembers that face. But you never know. You never know. Kanye West Beacombe looking houses he's building in California. No, I ain't see that random. 80s and the dude looks just like you. No, I believe you, Secret. I seen it earlier, man. But when you said, private, I just kept it on the low, you know what I mean? I ain't gonna I I think it's been long enough, but we used to run some shit up from Texas. We did a lot. We had storage units and shit. Now, a lot of times, man, you can't say shit that you've lived and that you've done and shit, man, because people won't believe you. They're like, oh, he's just trying to be something he's not. Oh, he ain't never done no shit like that, man. He lying. You know what I mean? All that fake ass motherfucker, man. Then you got other motherfuckers that run around and they try to act like they something that, and you just know how fucking fake they are. But anyway, it's like sometimes you just don't talk about some things, man, because people ain't gonna believe it. They won't believe you lived that. You know what I'm saying? And it doesn't matter. But it'd be nice to talk about some shit. You know what I mean? Be nice to talk about it. I don't think I could get in trouble for some of the shit. I think there's a statute of limitation on some shit. There's a statute of limitation on selling drugs, y'all. You know what I'm saying? Oh yeah, that's what's up. Jeep said, "Yep." Jeep knows. Sophia knows. Well, I'm saying, y'all, it's about that time to stab out. I appreciate y'all hanging, man. Listening to me run my mouth. Probably dive into some more shit next time. You know what I mean? But I'll be going live again this week. Tomorrow, I'm gonna be busting ass, and I'll probably be too dead to go live or do anything this week. I know the fellas; they might do something tomorrow. I didn't even send out the links to Backwoods or Hutch and stuff because I knew they were going through those storms. They said they wouldn't be able to go live tonight. But I don't know. We'll get into some shit this week. You know what I mean? But I appreciate y'all listening, man. I do. Y'all give me a place to let some shit out. Hang. Y'all my homies. You know what I mean? Appreciate y'all. I love y'all, man. It's just the way it is. I salute y'all. But I'll catch y'all on the next one, all right? I'm gonna go ahead and stab out. Y'all have a great fucking weekend. Maybe I'll see you this weekend. Who knows? Somebody go live, and if I'm up and shit and got some energy, you know what I mean? Frostbite. Salute. But I appreciate y'all. All y'all. I do. See y'all on the next one. I'm gonna hit y'all with something on the way out. Where's it at? Where's it at? Boom. All right, y'all. Till the next one. Much love.